So you're in for a treat this afternoon as we have an interview with AJ Desplande, who is an international student, moved to Georgia Tech, got his master's degree, and then landed his first job out of college. And we're going to share his story along with the tips and tricks that he used to land his first job here in the U.S. Let's discuss. Hi, I'm Pat Batchelor, and this is the DIY Engineering Career Builder Podcast. With 25 years as an engineer and 12 as a recruiter, now I'm stepping into the role of job search coach. I want to help you find the job in half the time and have fun while you're doing it. Whether you're looking for your first job out of college, your second job, or perhaps even your dream job, I'm here to help guide you to the next step. This will be fun, entertaining, educational, and empowering. I hope you join me. For you. Well, so tell me about your story. I'm curious. The reason I'm asking you for your story and even wanted to talk to you was just kind of just follow the process that you went from, I guess you were in India. And so tell me your story about how you decided to come to Georgia Tech. And the reason I'm doing this is because, the course that you joined was kind of my first my first try.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to see, if the process worked and was it helpful for you, but also more generally, just tell me your story and how you decided to come to the States and what kind of job you've landed now and all that. So how did you come to the US and what was your motivation?
Yeah. So, like I graduated in 2014 with a civil engineering degree from India, and then I decided to go work with Fluor Corporation. So I worked with them for 5 years. It was mostly in the oil and gas industry, and I
Uh-huh.
was designing structures like modular structures for them, steel structures, and it was like interesting. Like for the first 3 years, were really great, and like the last 2 years were kind of a repetitive work, and I thought like, okay, if I need to go further in this field, I need to have something extra behind my name. So maybe a master's degree would be a like good chance that it will
Right.
open some new opportunities for me.
Right.
And yeah, so that's why like in the year 2018 I started like applying to colleges, and then like I got in.
Wow.
And
Now, did you
yeah.
apply? Were all of those schools here in the States or were there other places as well?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I applied to a couple of schools in Canada, but I did
Okay.
not like go with them. So
Okay.
I mostly wanted to do a like a research-based program. So I wanted to do a Master of Science, like the MS program instead of Master of Engineering, which is a like pretty short program. Like it's a 9-month program, and the admission that I got into the Canada colleges like University of Toronto and British Columbia. So both of them were mostly in the like they were for the 9-month program, not the MS program. So I decided to come to the States, and that was the reason I joined Georgia Tech.
Okay.
So
Well,
yeah,
how did you
the
like
main
Atlanta and how
main
is it different from India?
yeah. So like that's what I'm saying. So the first thing that I realized, like it does not really like Atlanta is a city. It does not really give you the feeling like for an outsider like if me coming from India. I did not know a lot about the city. Like Atlanta was a totally new place for me. It's a big city here, obviously, but everyone outside the states thinks like US is all on the West Coast, like anywhere in the like California state and
Right.
New York. So that's what they think it is. And so it was a very new experience for me. And frankly speaking, I really liked it a lot because it has all the bells and whistles of a larger city. You get all the opportunities, but the at the same time it's really calm and very peaceful, and that's one of the aspects that I enjoyed about it. So yeah, and there are like a lot of people from a lot of cultures that I met in Georgia Tech. So overall it was a very good experience that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good. So then um kind of move forward. You started getting your master's in
Mhm.
structural, and then you were looking for opportunities kind of to do
Yeah.
to work here in the States. And,
Yes.
one of the things that I've found with foreign students, and you can help me out with this, is is it the dream is, oh, I can go to the States and then maybe I can stay? Or do most people kind of look at it as, well, I might get a job in the States, but more than likely I'll just probably come back and work there in India? What's your
Mhm.
thoughts on that?
I think it's a mix of both. So, like, what I personally feel is maybe like the key thing there is whether you want to be your own, like, you want to open a business of your own, you want to own a firm or something. And so, if that's the aim, then I've felt like most of the people who wanted to open their own maybe engineering firm or something, they went back to India to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I feel personally, like, I never had that ambition. I really enjoy working. And so because I get to work on some complex things, like even working with Floor, it was like something huge that I could not have maybe designed in my lifetime if I was like starting off with my own firm. And that was
Right.
like, that was my ambition. So yeah, so that, looking at that, I thought like it makes sense for me to stay here for the long term.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess you came over on an FS1 visa, right?
Yeah, F1
Student
visa,
visa. And
student visa.
then you had a job. I think you somehow we connected. I don't remember if I reached out to you or if we maybe met at
We
a
we met at a ASCE meeting.
down at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, down in Georgia
Yeah.
Tech. Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it was, I think it was one of those. I don't remember, but it was about the sheet panels, like the one they were talking about the Panama Canal and everything. So like how they built that and how it was done. I
Right.
don't remember the person who was like presenting, but that
Yeah.
that was the time I met you, and yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, very good. So I guess that's where we started our
Mm-hmm.
connection. And then I think you reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a job."
Yeah.
And did you have one down in Florida or something like that?
Yeah, that is correct. So, like, I had got an interview and a job. There's a company called Finfrock. So they specialize in precast, pre-stressed panels, and so mostly their construction is like pre-stressed concrete.
Right.
So I had landed an opportunity with them, like an internship opportunity over the summer. But I think that was the time, like around when COVID had just hit. So around May, they just sent me an email. Okay, we want to discuss something with you, and I thought like, okay, like something bad is going to happen, and it did. So like a couple of days later, I found out like they had rescinded that offer.
Right. They had said, "Hey, COVID's hit.
Yeah,
We don't want you coming. You stay
yeah,
in
that is correct.
Atlanta."
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah. And so then I guess I had reached out to you and just
Mm-hmm.
said, "Hey, I'm doing a course. If you'd
Yeah,
be interested, love to have you join in." Right.
yeah, yeah.
So tell me about that process. Was there anything that maybe you learned in the course of the
Mm-hmm.
process? I'm sorry, in the process of taking the course, or maybe in our conversation that you feel helped you out?
Yeah. So I would like to start off with like the biggest suggestion and the most important one that you gave was like, coming from India, people's name are a bit difficult to pronounce for the people living in the States.
Right.
And so that was the reason. I won't say like it was the main thing that was holding me back, that won't get me the interview. But when I, shorten it down and I go with AJ in front, like in the professional community, it
Right.
does help a lot, because what I realize in the company, like everyone likes to address the other one with their name. So that is one thing. I thought like they won't just call you, hey, come here. They won't be like that. They will be like, hey, AJ, come over here. So they want to address you by the name. And what you said was very correct. Like sometimes they're embarrassed of pronouncing it wrong, and
Right.
that's why they usually avoid taking that. And I realized like it has been a more easier and more inclusive journey after I adopted that. It
And
did, it
I
did help.
always hesitate to tell people that because,
Yeah,
our name really is a lot of our identity.
true.
And our name is in some ways a sacred thing,
Yeah,
and we don't want to dismiss the value of someone's name.
yeah,
On the other hand, uh, if you stick with your name, I mean, I remember the first time we talked, I think you had called me afterwards and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a job," and I was like, "Okay." And I popped open your resume. This was after we had met, and I
Yeah.
think you felt
Yeah.
comfortable enough knowing that I was going to try and give you reasonable
Hmm.
advice. And I just said, "Okay, AJ, here's the deal. I can't pronounce your name,
Yeah.
and or I
True.
could get as Ajinka
Yeah.
or something, and I can't pronounce it easily." And I just said, honestly, people are either to not call you, or because for two reasons: one, they might embarrass themselves,
Yeah.
or two, offend you.
Hmm.
And so it's just easier to say, I don't want to call him.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, though, is that even at your work now, day to day,
Yeah.
and maybe even through the hiring process,
Hmm.
that it really has simplified it. People
Yeah,
just go,
yeah, it,
oh,
it really did, because like even like day-to-day meetings with my supervisor, like I realized like they take my name, like in one conversation they will take my name like around 15 or 20 times something. So I can imagine like if my name was something complicated for them. And like the funny thing is, like even in India it's not a common name. So like when I was working, like I come from the central part of India, so it's a pretty common name there. But when I moved to the northern part, people in my office did not know like how to pronounce that name.
really?
Yeah, even in India it's not common. So it was a respite. Like it became easier when like one of the famous cricketing player, he also shared my name. So
Okay.
that's when like people people came
They
out. Okay,
figured it
okay,
out.
yeah, okay, that's
Okay.
how they pronounce it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Wow. So you think that really did kind
yeah.
of
It
help,
did help. Yeah,
and it's still helping you today, right?
true. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I think one of the other guys that was in our class,
Mm-hmm.
I think he was from, I want to say Lebanon,
Mm.
and he had a really hard name to, that was hard for
Uh,
me to pronounce. And I
was he
kind of,
from SGH, like Simpson Compared Searches? Was
I'm
that the
sorry.
guy? Was he from SGH? Is that the
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember him. Yes.
And and he changed. I said, "Well, would you be willing to do that?" And he was like, "Yeah, I would." And so he changed his, to
Yeah.
Dan. And I remember I asked him. I said, "Well, how did it go?" And he was like, he's going, "It's great." He goes, "There's just
Hmm.
so many more people. It makes it easier for
Yeah.
me to connect with him." And hold on one second. And he said, "Yeah, my parents came to town." And I said, "Did you tell him you changed his name?" He goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, what did they say?" He goes, "They didn't like it." And I was like, uh. He goes, "But it's definitely
Yeah.
helped."
Yeah, it definitely helped.
Well,
I'm
good.
pretty
Well, I'm
sure.
glad to hear that you're finding success. So tell me about this job. How did you find out about this company, and tell me a little bit about the firm and what you're doing?
Hmm. So, yeah, before I start off that, like I want to add one more thing about what I learned through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things that I really got help in was how to, clean up my LinkedIn profile. And it does help a lot. Like it does help a lot. Like that's all I can say about it.
Yeah.
And like I did not know like I have all those stuff available to go through. Like I can update those things. Like I had a cover picture, but I could not, like I never figured it out. Like, okay, I can convey so much more if I have a cover photo that is more relevant to the job that I'm looking for, or maybe what I have done in the past,
Right.
and all those other sections as well. Like when I actually put some information down about the courses that I had taken, and cleaned up my LinkedIn profile, it definitely helped. And obviously, like even when I'm looking at it, I feel nice. Okay, I have accomplished a lot of things. Yeah.
Totally. And
Yeah.
here's the thing with the LinkedIn profile is I tell students, I say, look, 100% of the time, if they like your resume,
Mm.
they're going to go, well, let's check out their LinkedIn profile
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
see if they're any good.
Yeah.
And so you're sitting there going, it does make a difference. It just totally
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Because like even I know that someone has viewed my profile from that particular company. So I know that they do visit it. So once I apply, maybe if I'm shortlisted, they will definitely go and visit the profile and look through all the stuff that I have on there. and it does help. It definitely helps. And one more that you told me was to get a couple of recommendations on the LinkedIn profile.
Did you
That
get
was,
some?
yeah, yeah, I got a couple of them, yes. So
Did,
from my previous company, it did help, definitely.
well, that's awesome. Hey, so I got to ask you, did you send them and just ask them, or did you write it for them and say, well, you could use this, and that way they could make it easy for them to fill it out?
The way it was like I never felt comfortable like writing everything down. So like even when I was applying to the universities in the US, it's mostly a custom like because India has a very different admission process. It's just based on one exam. There's no statement of purpose or letter of recommendations that are needed. So
Right.
people are not very comfortable doing that. But
Okay.
what I wanted was like I wanted some honest opinion from them, and that was the only platform I could get it. So
Right.
I usually got some recommendation, like even when I was applying to colleges, I got a recommendation letter written from them. But I did the final edits, like to clean out some words and maybe put in something different that would you know jazz it up for a lack of a better term. Yeah.
Okay.
And same thing I did with the LinkedIn recommendations as well. So they did send me something. I looked at it and I made a few changes and just like told them to approve it.
I tell you what, I'm going to just share yours real quick. Would that be okay? You
Yeah,
share
that's
your
okay.
LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
Let's see here. That way they can see my half here. So, what I love about you, first of all, your smile is infectious.
Thank you.
And we talked about that picture
Hmm.
that you want it to be professional, but you also want it to be friendly. You don't want to be sitting there mad and scowling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the
And
first one that I had was kind of like I was maybe upset about something. It looked
scary.
like
No,
that.
you were
Yeah.
scary. It was like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
my, I'm not calling him. And you know what? I don't know about it, but maybe sometimes even facial hair,
Hmm.
sometimes people look at it and go, oh man, so it's just, you never know. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a glamour shot, but what I say, it needs to be professional, friendly, and maybe even approachable. So
Hmm.
that smile works great. Did you take that picture at the Atlanta Aquarium, or
Yeah,
where
that
was
is
that
correct.
taken?
Then that's the reason I was so happy because like I that was one of the best like experiences that I had in Atlanta. So
It's pretty cool.
yeah,
Was that it
it's really
down
good.
there where the sharks are swimming over you
Yeah,
and
that is
stuff?
correct. Yeah, there's a overhead.
It's
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah, it's really nice. And that was the
Really,
first time I had seen an aquarium like that, so I was very excited.
that is really, it definitely is something cool. So then even this part right here, these
Mm-hmm.
pictures, I saw you put 5 pictures in there, and it really kind of helps. I just say it's almost subliminal that they go, oh, he's one of us. He's doing what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
the reason I picked it out was like the first one was from my steel class, and the second one was from my pre-stress class. The picture on the right that you see is one of the structures like similar that I had designed when I was working with floor.
Right.
So yeah, maybe a part of it or something like that. But yeah, it was from the same project.
Very
So
good.
yeah,
Very good. And then you put here your resume in
yes,
the
yeah,
featured section.
yeah.
And so people can find that out. And then you went down and put in some of your experience.
Yeah,
So
so this is the current experience that I have, like the
right.
place I'm
Well,
working in.
so did you I see you worked with Fluor, but so tell me about life at Owen Steel. How did you find out about that opportunity?
Yeah, so what happened was like I was planning like what to do for the fall semester, like which classes to take. But like I've always wanted to do some research activity. So I was in continuous talks with my professor, the steel professor,
Mhm.
and so he said like I have a project for you. So are you interested? Like okay, yeah. And then we were having like one of those regular meetings, and he said like okay, I just received this email from a guy, like from a like past student, and she introduced me to a guy who is working in a steel fabrication company, and they are looking for interns. So are you interested? And I said like I was a bit skeptical at first because I thought like the date had passed, but I still tried.
Right,
Luckily, I was well within the timeline. Like because of COVID, Georgia Tech had made some exceptions. They had extended deadlines and everything, and I
right.
just got lucky.
Good.
and I just
Well,
contacted them. Yeah,
you got you know, one of the things we talk about is the proximity. You
yeah,
know, you were you had taken a little bit of extra work working with the professor, and then an email happens to come
yeah,
in,
yeah.
and you're there, and they go, oh, you would be great for this. So
Exactly. Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
yeah, you put yourself in a position to be noticed,
Mm-hmm.
to be easily liked. If they check your LinkedIn profile, they actually, you
Yeah.
know, you know, they can pronounce your name,
Yeah.
which, and I don't want to underestimate that, but I think some people don't get that phone call or that opportunity just because people can't pronounce their name.
Yeah,
So
but like that's what I said. Like people here in the States, like they like to, address a other person name by their name, like address other person by their name a lot. And
right.
that's something that I realized after I started working with my current company.
Yeah,
And yeah, it
absolutely.
has been
And
it
one
has,
other thing that you also did is you put right here your call to action. Hey, if you
yes,
want to get a hold of me, you don't want to make it hard for people to find you, right?
correct. That is correct. So I put
So,
my number there and my email address. So yeah.
wow. Well, very good. And so tell me about what you're doing there at Owen Steel.
Yeah, so like after I interviewed with them, it was a like they had me flown over there in the morning, and I came back in the evening, and they showed me around the fabrication shop.
Okay.
So it was a pretty nice day, and by the weekend they had sent me the offer. And when I started working, the work was something that I had not done before. So like mostly like my previous experience was with modular construction, so just single huge structures. So
Right.
I had never done any stick built construction, so I was not aware of fabrication, erection. I always thought like it might be easy compared to
It
modular
sounds easy, doesn't
construction.
it? Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
and it's like the totally the other way around because like right now, what I'm working is in like I have to check the fabrication shop drawings like for like high-rise structures. Or currently, I'm doing working on an airport terminal, so I have to check like the fabrication shop drawings for fabrication tolerances, erection tolerances, whether the member will fit, they can erect it, whether it has the right paint, mm, I would say notation, maybe like what kind of paint you want on it. Do you want it to be roughened or galvanized or anything? And
Right.
there's a bunch of stuff. It's like earlier it was for me working with the design firm, it used to be just a note at the bottom of the drawing, but right now every member and everything just comes separately, and it has been like a very different experience for me.
Wow.
And yeah, so like, and also I do a lot of connection design there, and it is mostly that is a job. But I realized like there's a lot of things that I need to consider, like even like whether you can fit a beam inside like this, or you need to rotate it, or what you want to do to get it in there.
Right.
Yeah, and it does change a lot of stuff. So
Yeah. And I just say if you spend time there, I think regardless of where you go in your future career,
mhm.
just knowing how steel and the process works with
Yeah,
fabrication is just going to make you a better engineer
yeah, that is
regardless. Because you're going
that
to look
that
at it
is
with a
true.
different, you're at a different stage of the design process, right?
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, so
well,
it's
well
very
man,
interesting actually because they have the fabrication shop like right next to the office.
right.
So
So
I
you get
can,
to, you design
yeah,
it today and next week it's out there
yeah,
being built.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can go there and just check, okay, this is how huge it looks. So it's
Right.
pretty nice. Yeah.
Right. Very cool. Very cool. Well, it sure was fun having you part of the course. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to post
Yeah,
this
sure.
interview if that would be all right. Just
Yeah,
to
that's okay. That's perfectly
because
fine.
one of the things one, just try to provide information, but two, to say this stuff really works.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
It's not always obvious, to students or kids at Georgia Tech or different schools. They go, I I didn't know that, and how would you,
Yeah.
But it's these simple little changes that don't take long and they're not hard, but boy, they can make a world of difference
Yeah, it
because
does.
in reality, LinkedIn has become I tell people, your most valuable digital real estate for engineers. if somebody's looking at us to see if they want to call us for a job
Hmm.
opportunity, they're going to find us on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're going to be on there, you might as well present yourself as a professional, right?
Yeah. Like, and if you have like a complete profile, the other person also feels comfortable that they think like this is a real person instead of just a person who just opened a
Absolutely.
profile and left it alone. So
It's a lot more than just a boring resume. You can
yeah.
do so much to it. I
Yeah.
see here even you got your recommendations. And,
Yeah.
one of the things I might encourage you to do is if you have a professor or someone else, is go ahead and
Mm.
get a couple of more
Yeah.
for you. But also, if there's somebody that was a fellow student or someone that you
Mm.
know of that you thought highly of, you could just send them and say, hey, I'd love to give you a recommendation, or, you know, I'll be happy to give you one if you give me one,
Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
a quid
Sure.
pro quo. But
Yeah.
those recommendations, when somebody else says he's really good, it
Mm.
helps to kind of set the hook,
Yeah.
and it gives those people a much more comfort level that, yeah, this guy is somebody worth calling.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you did everything exactly right. So congratulations on the new job. Well,
Yeah.
AJ, take care. Thank you so much for
Thank you so
your
much.
time.
Yeah.
And it sure is good seeing that you made it successfully and are enjoying your career. So
Yeah. It was a pleasure.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Take care, man. Have a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was AJ Desplande, and wasn't that fun listening to him tell his story about how he landed his first job here in the States? I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. Every episode is my goal is to make this podcast fun, entertaining, educational, and empowering. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you'd like to get information on how to update your LinkedIn profile, visit www.diyejs.com. So that's all for today. Be safe, have a great week, and we'll see you next time. God bless you.